All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call I'm La, Alaina, wa Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who will teach well, and a hearty shalom to the elect. All right, it's your brother Karad is back again with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahushai. And it's going to be about this bark of the beast. Salakio. All right, because this is what's coming down the pipeline in regards to prophecy. All right. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. And he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And we're going to go more specifically into the route of individuals getting it put into their head, literally into their head. All right. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right, here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, So you know this is a man-made thing. All right, you know this is coming from the thoughts and ideas of a man. Okay. It says, and his number is 636. All right. And you know it's the 666, like you can see on the universal product code number. All right. Those hash lines in the front, in the middle, and the back of the UPC code are sixes. Okay. You can look that up for yourself. But let's watch this video.
Guys, watch this.
We're going to look at what he is about to release that leads to the warnings of Bible prophecy. Brain chips. Brain chips that will give whoever receives it supernatural, God-like abilities. Listen to this.
I think some kind of brain-machine interface that can give you cybernetic superpowers. I think is probably good. It can help people that have brain or spine injuries, enable people who never spoken for years to speak again, which we've done. Give people eyesight who have lost both eyes or the optic nerve, or maybe have never even seen at all, blind from birth. By direct interface to the optical centers in the brain, you can actually restore eyesight, and you can enable people to walk again, which I think is profound. I mean, these are kind of Jesus level things, you know, like when technologies are hitting like Jesus level miracles, you know, like, that's pretty good.
Elon Musk said that the Neuralink chip will give you a God-like abilities, a Jesus-like power. Are you people still sleeping? You people are not ready to wake up to see that we are in the last days. This is the time for us to run back to God as fast as possible. Guys.
All right, so there's some things in this video, and the first thing I want to, make mention of is that the name of the Lord, our Lord, is not Jesus, okay? His name is Yahushai, okay? And we are in the end days. And the only ones that's going to turn back to the Lord is his elect, okay? Everybody else, they're not, and they're going to perish in some horrible way, okay? But the main outline of this video is this brain-computer interface chip, okay? And that's what's coming. Here goes another article, okay, that was mentioned within this chat that I'm in. It says, Trump just signed a directive. Let me go to the actual link on the brother's page. All right, it says, Trump just signed a directive to allow AI chips to be put inside human brains. 65,000 electrode, paper thin, wirelessly powered. Here's what it means for the next decade. All right, while most people are debating whether AI will take their jobs, the government is quietly putting AI inside the human brain. A new directive was signed to accelerate 6G deployment, specifically to operate implantable technology. All right, implantable technologies. It says here, the technology is called BICS, Biological Interface System to Cortex, a paper-thin brain chip with over 65,000 electrodes electrodes designed to merge the human with human brain with AI. This is not science fiction, blah blah blah. The brain chip sits on the interface. The chip sits on the interface of the brain. It receives power wirelessly through a small relay station worn outside the skull. No batteries inside the body, no wires, just a direct neural link powered by from the outside. 65,000 electrodes for context. Neuralink has around 1,024. BCI has 63 times more connection points to the brain. That's the difference between hearing a conversation and every voice in a stadium. The 6G part matters. Current networks can handle the bandwidth a brain chip needs. 6G is built to relay neural signals in real time. The directive isn't about faster phones, it's about infrastructure and human augmentation. All right, so just here you go. More just sliding through. You can pause if you want. Paralyzed person thinks about moving their hand. The chip reads the thought across 65,000 contact points, sends it wirelessly to a device, and the hand moves. Okay. Here goes more information. You can just stop and read it. All right, because this is what I want to read here. How a brain-computer interface works. Okay. Same information, same things that you saw within the video as far as the brain chip being placed on the brain in this first picture right here, and the shape of it with the little connectors. And this was done back in 2007. So imagine, the picture, it says brain image, see more pictures, 2007, how stuff works. At the top it says updated September 3rd, 2024. So it's about almost 20 years, okay? So it says here, I'm going to read a few things in this article, all right? Not all of it. But it says here, as the power of modern computers grow alongside our understanding of the human brain, we move closer to making some pretty spectacular scientific fiction into reality. It isn't about convenience for severely disabled people. Development of a brain-computer interface could be the most important technological breakthrough in decades. Imagine transmitting signals directly from somebody's brain that would allow them to see, hear, or feel specific sensory inputs. Consider the potential to manipulate computers or machinery with nothing more than a thought. Inside this article, we'll learn all about how BCIs work, their limitations, and where they could be headed in the future. All right, the electric brain, the brain-computer interface systems work at all is because of the way our brains function. Our brains are filled with neurons, individual nerve cells connected to one another by dendrites and axons. Every time we think, move, feel, or remember something, our neurons are at work. That work is carried out by small electric signals that zap from neuron to neuron as fast as 250 miles per hour. The signals are generated by differences in electric potential carried by ions on the membrane of each neuron. Although the path the signal take are insulated by something called myelin, some of the electric signals escape. Scientists can detect this neural activity, interpret what they mean, and use them to direct an external device like a computer or mobile device. It can also work the other way around. For example, researchers could figure out what signals are sent to the brain by the optic nerve when someone sees the color red. They could rig a camera that would send those exact signals to someone's brain whenever the camera saw red, allowing the person to see without eyes. All right, here you go. This is an example. How BCI interface works, portion 1. It says the patient mentally visualizes the cursor moving. All right, implanted electrode. We're going to get that word implanted too. The brain activity is interpreted by the computer software. The computer monitor displays the interpreted thought or thought activity. It says one of the biggest challenges facing brain-computer interface researchers today is basic mechanics of the interface itself. I'm sure they're beyond this as of 2026, okay? The easiest and least invasive method is a set of electrodes and a device known as electroencephalograph, EEG, attached to the scalp. The electrodes can read brain signals. However, the skull blocks a lot of the electrical signal and distorts what goes through it. To get a higher resolution signal, scientists can implant. Let's look at this word implant because it keeps coming up. Implant, it says insert or fix tissue to an artificial object in a person's body, especially by surgery. There you go. All right. Now let me get something else. All right, this is the word mark. It's charagma, okay? It says a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah. The mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculptured, graven work, idolatrous image. These are things that go into that word mark. All right, let's look at that's the root word karax. Okay, a pale or stake. All right, and they're gonna implant this thing into you. All right, here we go. It says charagma. Is this the same thing? Yeah. It says a sketch or etching, i.e. a stamp, a badge of servitude. Let's see. All right, yeah, this is just showing you, these words are just showing you that, hey, it's going to be implanted in you, okay? And they have to puncture skin or do surgery to get these devices within you, okay? Scientists can implant electrodes directly into the brain tissue itself or on the surface of the brain beneath the skull. This allows for much more direct reception of signals and allows electrode placement in the specific area of the brain where the appropriate signals are generated. This approach has many problems. However, it requires invasive surgery to implant the electrode and the device in the brain. Long-term tend to cause the formation of scar tissue in the gray matter. The scar tissue ultimately blocks signal. All right, let's see. I'm just trying to see what's important. This talks about the function. Okay, let's see. Regardless of the location of the electrodes, the basic mechanism is the same. The electrodes measure minute difference in the voltage between neurons. The signal is then amplified and filtered. In current BCI systems, it is then interpreted by a computer program. Although you might be familiar with an older analog encephalographs, which display the signals via pins that automatically wrote out the pattern on a continuous sheet of paper. In the case of a sensory input BCI, the function happens in reverse. A computer converts a signal, such as one from a video camera, into voltage necessary to trigger neurons. The signals are sent to an implant in the proper area of the brain, and everything works correctly. The neurons fire, and the subject receives a visual image corresponding to what the camera sees. All right, this is just how it's going to work, okay? I'm not going to read all of this. It's pretty lengthy. All right. I'm going to read a little bit more. I'm going to read to this paragraph right here. So it says here, another way to measure brain activity is with a magnetic resonance image. An MRI machine is a massive, complicated device. It produces a very high resolution image of brain activity, but it can't be used as part of permanent or semi-permanent BCI. Researchers use it as a benchmark for certain brain functions or to map where brain electrodes should be placed to measure specific function. For example, if researchers are attempting to implant electrodes that allow someone to control an external device like a robotic arm with their thoughts, they first must put the subject in an MRI and ask him or her to think about moving their actual arm. The MRI will show which area of the brain is active during arm movement, giving them a clear target of electrode placement. So what are real life uses of BCI? Read on to find out the possibilities. So then here we go down here, BCI applications. It says the patient mentally visualizes both hands closing. The damaged muscle blocks normal brain signals. The implanted electrode in the arm allows healthy muscles to receive signals from the brain to close the hand. The implanted electrode in the arm relays the signal from the brain to the robotic arm to close the hand. This is how it would work with the BCI attached to you. All right, it says one of the most exciting areas of BCI research is the development of devices that can be controlled by thought. Some of the applications of this technology may seem frivolous, such as the ability to control a video game by thought. If you think a remote controller is convenient, imagine changing the channels with your mind. Look at how they try to entice you, right? However, the bigger picture, devices will allow severely disabled people to function independently. Again, another form of temptation. For those suffering from spinal cord injuries, something as basic as controlling a computer with a cursor via mental commands would represent a revolutionary improvement in quality of life. But how do we turn those tiny voltage measurements into movement of a robotic arm? Then you can, go to how stuff works and, read the rest of it. It's pretty lengthy, okay? But this is what they coming to do. It's right here in front of you. Literally right here in front of you, okay? There's going to be a horrible judgment for those that take this device. This is Revelations 14 and 9. It doesn't matter. None of this stuff, don't take it. All right. This is Revelation 9. Revelation 14 and 7. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear Yahweh and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the foundations of water and the foundations of waters. All right, so fearing the Lord starts with knowing the name of the Lord and not going to take this device, okay? Verse 8, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So if you join yourself into Babylon, you're going to fall with it. Okay, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And their smoke ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, and here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. We need to be patient in that time. All right. I'm going to read verse 12 in the Bible in basic English. It says, here is the quiet strength of the saints who keep the orders of Yahweh and faith of Yahweh Shai. Right? That quiet strength goes into having that faith and being patient. All right? Patience, work, experience, and experience hope. And hope is something that we don't need to be ashamed of. Let me get that. I think it's 1 Peter. Might be 2 Peter. I can't remember where it is, but nonetheless, the message is don't take that device. I just tried to show you, I wanted to show you that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai, that they are bringing it forth to light. Okay, all right. They are making their technological advances, and they're showing forth to you what they want to do and how it's going to work and how they're going to get you. All right, but don't fall for the temptation. Lord will use edify to the next time. Shalom.